to get this going. Not really a lot's changed over the last couple of days, so it kind of is what it is. We'll just kind of get through it. Nothing's been too incredibly surprising. I guess I can go over some things. We'll just go through the VIX and we'll go through some of this. I'm not really going to explain anything. This is from the last videos we've all kind of seen, right? VIX focused, what we expect to happen, or what seemed more likely to happen. And I guess I can just go over that real quick. So, long story short, let's just kind of do an overview. This is where we last bounced. We also had the month, week time frame also here as well. It's a lot easier to see that there's a high chance of us pushing up here than there was, I would say, kind of mix and match, I would say, in a sense. It's a mix and match. But there's a couple differences here. It was a little bit easier in the shorter time or the week time frame to see that was going to push up here. Here we could see that there was going to have something more likely than not was going to happen, right? We talked about our three areas, or 1, 2, 3. We didn't hit the bottom one. That's where it always pushes up a lot, but I'm not surprised it pushed up here either. We didn't have this 375 whole average. This is the first. It's 375 months, so it's a long time, right? So we have that now. We came down, we bounced here. This is where the month time frame is for the 200 smooth average, and then this is where the week time frame is. Something to also note here is we did start under, but where we did come down is a couple cents under. I think like 3 or 4 cents under where the month 200 smooth average was. Let me just bring this down a little bit. I think that's just about right. So we came down here and then we pushed up. So we did start somewhat on a slightly weaker week. I still think this has a chance of going up. I would have liked to have seen this stay within this relative area. I personally would like to see it come back down somewhere around here and then push up on this next week. We'll see if that happens. I still think this can push up. To me, it's not a time to be bullish. Long story short, the time to be bullish. The way I see it is if we have a week or a month start under this trend that's existed for 3 years, something like that. 2 years, I guess. Yeah, 2 years, almost 3 years. So we can see it's here. I wouldn't say 5 years because here, and then we kind of get confirmation here. So yeah, we could say like 3 years this trend's existed. Not going to go back into the specifics. So let's just kind of go over everything else that's been going on. I haven't really looked at too much. Obviously, Apple went down. Like I don't focus on most of the market most of the time. It's not really worth it. So we'll see what happens. I still think this is the range entry position when we start under is right around here. Technically, we could have seen I mean, not we could have seen, but it is what it is. I'm not going to go through all the specifics. Anyway, we have another possible start here. Someone wanted to take a position. I could see this being somewhat reasonable. It's a little bit sketchy, though. I would have preferred to see something right here. A little bit more obvious is what we had on this day. So we'll see if we actually fill the whole range of it. That's pretty much Apple in a nutshell. I don't really think there's too much else really here. I still think the VIX is kind of the easiest way to see between all these. We're talking about the bullishness for the NASDAQ being here. We failed to break up into the here, so there's no real buy point. There's no crazy sell point. We're not under, was it 11.2 or 11, almost like 11.3. We're not under there yet, so I don't think it's a huge deal. SPY is a little sad with the SPY because we did break up into here and then we broke back under. I don't really like where it is personally. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it. I'll probably look at some in the thing is I don't want to get into some of these too much because it seems a lot easier right now to kind of determine whether things seem good or bad or whether it's going to go up or down just based off the VIX. So I don't know how much this matters, especially with where the VIX has been and what it's been doing as we saw in the beginning. I like even though was in a good spot, I don't know how much it really mattered because of the VIX in the position that it was in. I don't mind Dow Jones where it is right now. I do like this fib level from where it is. I don't remember where this is. Someone's interested. It's 15.5 to 26.6 is where it's from. So let's take a quick look. 15.5 is from here. So we pretty much go from here to here. It was pretty nice with the COVID drop and a lot of these other places. I've liked it quite a bit. If you look at it, it's just a nice area to cut through. It has this also. We were talking about a nice plot, maybe like a longer term entry up here, but we didn't break through it, so it is what it is. Dollar, I don't really think there's much to look at. I personally, I think the VIX looks bad, but I have a pretty strong feeling that the dollar could go down. And this is, and I'll explain more in a second, but this is kind of my big fear is that at one point the VIX will really go up and the dollar's still going down, and we pretty much have a devaluation of the dollar, and stocks aren't going up as the dollar goes down, and then the dollar goes down somewhere to like 98 to 100, and then the dollar pushes back up again. That's my big fear because what, in my opinion, what we've been seeing, at least like in the last half a year, I haven't done super tracking, or at least this year, I'd say I haven't done super tracking to really before that with the dollar and the VIX. When the dollar goes up, generally, right? Well, everything affects each other in a sense, and the VIX is kind of like a derivative, but in a sense, the dollar is also a derivative in a sense. It's its own thing, but it derives some of its price from other things. When stocks look bad, the dollar is going to push up, regardless of anything else. Because it's just like the safe haven for things. But the point is, a lot of the movement with the dollar really coincides with movement in the VIX, and it'll be pretty interesting to see instead of them necessarily working at the same time, but as like a 1-2 combo. So, like, long story short, we can just kind of show it like here. So, essentially, the VIX is already kind of looks pretty good. The dollar looks like it could have a lot more to move. And if the VIX builds up more energy here or where it is, and the dollar keeps coming down to this really strong level, I'd be a little bit worried about what could happen. I mean, the devaluation of the dollar is kind of something that's possibly been happening for a while anyway, so we'll see. I don't really know how much the world, I don't know. I was going to say like how much the world really trusts like places like China or Russia, but who knows? It's hard to trust America either, I suppose, if you're not an American. But maybe it's just a different level of trust. So let's kind of move on. Let's look at Bitcoin. Nothing too crazy at Bitcoin. The biggest thing I could say about Bitcoin right here is this, right? So just to kind of show it again, um, object tree. Where's the fib? Pitchfork. So this is the same shift pitchfork from up here. Boom, boom. We can see nice cut through. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put this a while ago in here. You can see, and then also right here. Boom, boom, boom. Almost right there as well. And then we can see it looks pretty nice. This is the breakout what we were waiting for over 22.4. Long story short, that's what this trend line is, and it seems like we're having issues at it again. So we'll see what happens. I don't really think it's anything crazily substantial if it breaks through. It's kind of in the same position as this, with this being the week right there. So if we look at the week 200, it's a little bit off from where it is. It's slightly higher, not too much, like $17. Excuse me. But uh, bu- 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 but yeah, like that's something we got to break through. So it'd be nice to break through the trend lines. Got to break through here. Even just looking at it from this standpoint, it's got to break through this 19 also as well. That's going to be really tough. So like I was saying before, I think 18 also and 19 is going to be really hard. 18 just because of the trend line. 18 because of the week. The trend line is going to be hard, but that's like at 17. So 17, 18, then 19, I believe, just because of the sheer amount of resistance that we have here is quite insane. Like sure, maybe it could break through and do that. That seems kind of hard to see, really, and then continue up. It feels hard to see. Anything can happen, but that feels really hard to see. And we also have the same issue with like the stocks being sketchy, a lot of loss in confidence. I don't know why people would have anyway, and a lot of these cryptos and just the whole crypto space in general. And then also at the same time, just the dollar. I mean, the dollar's only going to go down so much. If the dollar does somehow break through 98, then okay, maybe there would be a decent chance for some of these things. But so far, that's kind of just what I'm looking at right now, what I'm seeing. So let's go through some of these other ones and let's see if we can find anything. Home Depot seems like it's still doing okay relative to a lot of these other ones. I know IBM has been doing really well compared to the rest of the market. I've really liked how IBM's been doing. Been really nice. Got back up into here, which is pretty decent. Another decent entry for it. And I think on the day time frame, we could see something right around here, which was also nice as well. But it's been holding up. What's that heart? What does that mean? Oh, it's a okay. What's this like? Yeah, so it's ranging this 3% when some other things have just been getting, destroyed. I think this is God. It's got to be more than like 3% right here, right? Yeah. But it just looks a lot more decent than some of the other ones. Foot Locker's been doing pretty well, only because it just managed to push back up. They have good earnings, I guess. Yeah, I think they had decent stuff back here also as well, though, when they had the big drop off. So I don't know. I don't want to say like, oh, their earnings. That's why they did well, because it's it's just not. It's dishonest. Netflix is still up here. Wow. Let me get rid of this. Netflix is wow, pretty wild. This is actually pretty wild to see Netflix still up here. Now, yeah, it's pushing down, but I don't think it looks horrible. I mean, where it is, it's not the. I mean, where it is, right under here, isn't really the best. Especially when we manage to push up end here and start back under. Not really the best, but everything else, all things considered, I feel like it's holding up pretty well. What am I looking at? Tron. Huh. I haven't looked at Tron forever. Anyway, let me just ignore that. Let's see, 137. None of these apply anymore. These are like old, right? The day 500s all the way up here. Day 375s all the way up here. Like this was a long time ago that we fell here and then came down. Let's see. I wonder what Doge is doing. I think I'll check that out. Take a look at that real quick. I'm also a little bit interested in Litecoin. Ooh, Litecoin's been taking a pretty big hit. Pretty big hit. I mean, this was the range for it, which definitely puts it into question when the first push up comes all the way up here. And this is also all these are this and these two candles are really sketchy. It's pretty crazy this actually pushed up. I wouldn't have expected this to push up right there. All seriousness. Um, is there anything here? I mean, this looks pretty ugly for what it's worth. I mean, it hasn't been doing anything impressive here, and it's already gone from here to here, and almost went from here to here there. So a little sketchy. Let's check out Dogecoin 9.6. Yeah, not doing too well. Yeah. This 5th also? Yeah, December 5th. Yeah, in my opinion, I think we really need, really, from what I was saying, and I still believe it, I think this was a decent place for an entry point. I still agree with it. I mean, I think it's confirmed that it was. Like I was saying, if we fail here, then we range between here, which is what we did. More than enough chances to get out for like 3 cents, 4 cents less, 3-4% loss, more than enough. This coming up to 11.2, more than enough of a chance to get out for no loss. Hold it for a gain, which wouldn't have made any sense to me to hold this. It wouldn't have made any sense to me whatsoever at all. I mean, this, especially after this day ends, you don't really have much of a choice, to be honest. But the same thing, I would have looked for a day to start above here, and then I would have gotten back in. I would have gotten, if I was messing with this, I would have gotten here. I would have been at a loss. I would expect this to be the range. If depending on what I was doing, add on a slight amount more and then just play it back up. Most likely, I'd either get out on this day, or if we call it, either get out here if we break that back down a little bit more. I don't remember what it. I didn't look at it specifically, so I don't know what it did, but that's the way I'd play that. So I mean, it's did everything that's expected. It looks ugly. It's kind of unfortunate. I'm not really sure what it's gonna do now. What is the 12 hours? It's got support under from the 12s anyway. My big concern is we also had support from the 12s here also as well. We can see the ugly stuff here. Doesn't look great. We can see the resistance, and then we can see it break above it right here, and we can see support. So I really liked it when it was in this area. I do like that this is a little bit higher. I'm a little bit more sketched out about it. The biggest concern for me is if we have a 12-hour that starts within this range. As I always say, I don't like anything between the hulls and the smooth moving average. I'm not a big fan of anything within that range. So we'll see. Let's see what the Doge 2. Yeah, okay. I don't see anything super specific on either of these Doge to Bitcoins. I mean, we can see these are pretty nice ranges for what they are, especially like here. This is a little bit okay for what it is. We can see some of the support there. But I like It doesn't look great. While this is a pretty decent average for what it is, we come under, we get a little support, then we push back up through it. Like wick, wick, wick. You can kind of see something here. And then we push back up just to, get stopped here and push back down. So it's definitely pretty ugly. And it makes me wonder kind of what's going on with it from that perspective anyway. 12 hours supports there. We're under the 4 hour. We came into the 4 hour here. It's a little bit sketchy. But I will say at the end of the day, one nice thing that's somewhat bullish is this starting up here, though I don't think it's nearly as bullish when we have something that just wicked up 4.5% before it switched over. That's not really a good thing. So I don't really want to go over this too much anymore. It looks pretty bad for what it is. It could get some support where it is right now. I could see that. It's got some with a 4, with the 2. We're under the day 200. Kind of failed at it, which is something I'm not a big fan of. To me, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. So just without seeing the other averages, I mean, this seems pretty clear as the range. It's a little bit sketchier kind of once we come in here, and I would be quite a bit worried about coming down here. This is going to be moving over this way. This is going to be coming up pretty aggressively, and so will this as well. So we're essentially looking at, these are like the 3 averages in the day time frame. We're essentially looking at like here looks quite a bit. I mean, it could pass up. It's just we're gonna have to deal with all this stuff, and then at the same time, like all these averages are going to be above, and I don't know, it's going to be pretty ugly, but we'll see where the day comes in. This is still, man, I remember this was is that 6 cents? Yeah, it's a little bit above it now. What are we at? 6.3 cents. So we'll see. I mean, if it can hold up here by the time we get this average coming up, that would make, I'd be more inclined to believe that we have a chance to push up. Obviously, as always, I wouldn't want to see it on the bottom side. Um, Tesla just got Shrek'd again. Nothing's really changed from here. You know what we could do? I'm just kind of interested to see where some of this stuff is. Actually, I don't really care about this. Let's do this. Do the CCI. Let's set the CCI to 200. So that's the value I like to use it on. Yeah, I mean, I guess I might not see anything that I really want to see. Let's see. For the thing I usually look at this. One of the big things is I look for it switching between. Obviously, we can see this is like so overbought based on what we can see, but I like to look for things that switch in and out. It doesn't always show anything, but that's usually I look at. Just treat these as like the lines of support and resistance, kind of like breakout, break in levels. So yeah, I mean you can almost even kind of see it here in a sense. If we look at here, come up. It doesn't mean like, oh, it's short, but like if you're gonna use, if I was gonna use this to try to get in the Tesla somewhere, I hate the fact it's so high up, but it's Tesla, right? But the fact that it's still under here would mean I don't like it from that perspective. Just using this as like another kind of indicator anyway. What shop at? Still above 30, 38. Shop's holding up really well. Remember when shop was 26? Peloton, didn't Carvana get destroyed? Yeah, Carvana fell off a cliff, down 42% today. That is wild. That is wild. Well, they're probably screwed. That isn't that what a wild ride from $8 all the way up to 257. What a joke of a market and a world that we live in. I swear to God. Actually, it's like such a joke. I don't know how to take anything serious in this life anymore. It really is. Like when all this stuff and like the market and all economics and all when all this stuff that I feel like for a long time has just been put on a pedestal as the peak of whatever this and that, or like the idea of something. It's just, I mean, you really see behind everything, and you just see kind of how much of a joke everything is, and how like science is science, and I mean, research and data and results are results, right? Especially repeatable results. But gosh, everything outside of that humans deal with is just so wild. So wild. So I guess I think that's it. I mean, there's not really much has changed. I just kind of wanted to put out a video update idea just go over a couple more things. And take care, y'all. I might be streaming tomorrow. I doubt it, but we'll see. Take care, y'all. Have a good night. Peace.